Oh, yeah. Friday podcast. Yeah. What's up, SMT Nation? Man, it is good to be here on this Friday. I got a lot of good energy tonight. I had a little bit of coffee, so a little jolt of energy, a little caffeine. I feel good. End of the week. The work week was good. Can't complain. We're here. We got 50 watching as of right now. 52 and counting. And I got a good show planned for all of you. It's going to be a good one. Good topics, interesting angles to things. You guys know the SMT. I always try to kind of look at things, you know, through the scope of objectivity. Collectively, from the consumer angle, what it means to you. We take all these topics, network technologies, wireless carriers, network deployments, analysis, insight. We do it all here. Let me go ahead and say hello to some people. I would like to welcome the following: Qais, Gene, Darius. Those three individuals are all patrons on the Patreon page, supporting the SMT. If you're interested in becoming a member, check out the link in the description box. We'd love to have you as part of the community. Take your SMT Nation content exposure to the next level. If you like what the YouTube channel does, you're going to love what the Patreon page has to offer. Early access to videos, exclusive access as well. Special podcasts and live streams, unique and exclusive just to the Patreon page. So check us out there if you're interested in becoming a part of that. Baby Yoda, good to have you, man. Thanks for holding it down. Hashtag Mod Squad. If you got a big blue wrench and your name is Blue, you the best. Hold it down. Keep it civil for me. Get the trolls out of here. Drop the hammer on them. Hashtag Form Voltron. Yeah. Big Lou, I see you. ARG Tech. ARG Tech. I think that's Alex. I don't know. Alex changing his name every week, basically. Kimon, good to see you. Recently knighted. Arshan, I see you. Trail Boy, good to see you as well. The homie info assistant is here. Mikey Tech Review. Michael T, good to have you as well. We got our first super chat tonight. It's from Mikey Tech Reviews. What up, Sneed? How's your day? Yeah, it's excellent, man. Thank you for the super chat. I hope you're doing well. Max Tech Studios, Bill Tech, Michael T, if I didn't get you before. Ryan is here as well. Thanks for stopping by. Uncle Breadman, J. Aura, what is up, man? Teletech, good to see you, man. Glad you could stop by tonight. Hometown Custom PC, welcome you. James as well. Mystic Eric, Paul Boyd, Mr. Sean. Hey, I dig the beats, man. If you like the music, you're looking to maybe use these types of instrumentals in your videos, or for whatever reason, the homie Tana Solit here on YouTube, at Tana Solit on Twitter. You can catch him at chosenbeats.club. Good friend of mine and an excellent creator. Somebody to consider supporting. Josh, good to see you as well. Thanks for stopping by. The homie Paul, Paradoxical Nightmare. Good to have you. Gene with the super chat. Appreciate that very much. Always generous and kind. Appreciate you. The homie Carlos, my brother, what is up? Austin is here. Brother from another's. You guys are the best. William, good to see you. Yeah, it is a big deal. You're right, man. Keon, my brother, what is up? Benny D. Yeah, Bill Tech, Code, Troy, Robert, usual suspects, right? Jesus, MS, Vlad, you guys are the best. Appreciate you stopping by. Let's go ahead and get this party started. Podcast. Yeah. Here we go. You guys see it. I got you on the video. All right, let's check it out here. Stories for today. So, story number one, it's going to revolve around technology. I think it's always good to talk about the carriers, but specifically you have to look at technologies as well. What are the carriers going to deploy and utilize with the networks moving forward in the future? So we'll cover that. A newer technology, very green. It's early. It's in its infancy stages. Millimeter wave. but it's already doing big things and it's already getting better and better. So we'll cover that. It's amazing. I don't really feel the need to justify how important mmWave is, but I think sometimes people don't understand how fast it's changing and getting better, and how soon it's going to be a difference maker for a lot of people. So I want to drive that point home, and I'm going to explain what exactly is going on with this technology and what Qualcomm, along with a couple other companies, are doing to make it really good. All right, so the other piece is actually about T-Mobile, wireless spectrum and auctions, and Verizon and AT&T. It affects Dish as well. It affects all wireless customers. It affects all wireless carriers. T-Mobile may be the reason our wireless network access gets sabotaged. Little bit of hyperbole, little bit of exaggeration, but for the sake of this argument, I will try to explain to you my viewpoint. Companies, wireless providers specifically in this case, you don't want them to have too much power. You don't want them to have too much of an upper hand on the competition. That's the worst case scenario. We saw what happened in the past with this. Hey, Carlos, you know the haters are going to dislike. You know it, right? They come in, they see me questioning what companies are doing. It goes against what their personal interests are, and they get mad, you know? So, yeah, Lou, just get them out of here when you see them, bro. They lay low here because we form Voltron, bro. You know? Anyways, you guys are the best. I know you'll hold it down for me. So, let's get this thing going, man. Let's get this thing started here. I will be recording the audio-only version of this podcast. There are links in the description down below for ways to listen to the podcast. Apple, Google, Spotify, Anchor. We're on all those podcast platforms. Breaker, Pocket Cast, we're on all of them. Check them out. Down in the description box, if you don't like having YouTube open, you just want to listen to it on audio, save your data, save your bandwidth, right? I don't know. You want to download it for later, you could do that. It's all there. So, yeah, man. Let's get this thing going. Story number 1 for tonight's podcast. I want to start by highlighting a technology that I think is probably going to be the essential game changer of what we need in 5G moving forward. mmWave is going to be crucial to the evolution of 5G and 6G and 7G and whatever other Gs you could think of. All right. The reason I say that is because the potential and capacity far exceeds the potential of any other form of frequency spectrum. Low band has its limitations. It's great in terms of reach, propagation, and range. It's awesome. 600 megahertz, 700, 800, 850. It's fantastic for that purpose. But it has limitations in capacity. The channels simply are not wide enough. The channels are too skinny. That's where mid-band comes into play, right? Give you the balance, give you the best of both worlds. Good capacity, decent range. It kind of fits the bill for today's usage. But in the future, it's really going to be about mmWave, which is why companies are and should be heavily investing in the future of their wireless networks, utilizing this technology. Verizon has invested heavily already. Other carriers a little bit less. Some not so much at all. But in the future, they eventually are going to have to get there. It's an inevitable technology that will need to be exploited and optimized. So why am I bringing this up now, and why am I mentioning this in the podcast? We had a huge breakthrough in a technology achievement. Qualcomm completed a mmWave 5G call. So why is that a big deal? A call. No biggie, right? Well, it is a big deal. And the reason it's a big deal is because of the distance. The distance in which that call was made across. So one of the things that I think people always point to is mmWave has its limitations in terms of its range. How far can the signal transmit before it starts to degrade and the signal starts to fade to the point where it actually disconnects, right? Well, the distance broke a previous record. I think the previous record was like just under 2 miles or around 2 miles. They've now exceeded 2 miles. They're at 2.36 miles of range on this call. This is fantastic because the story up to this point was that all these mmWave developments were limited, right? Everything's lack of propagation, lack of signal transmission, trouble connecting and stay connecting. The connections are getting better. Calling is going over long distances. Data transmissions are happening through obstacles. So doubters of mmWave has stood by the claims of distance issues, propagation issues, which up to this point have been warranted. I'm not saying that that's not the case. Definitely. Right? It has been the situation for sure. It's a high frequency. It has its limitations. I'm not denying that. Lower frequencies are more conducive to that long range usage, right? Several miles, but they lack the capacity because of the limited channel size. So with this type of development, with this type of testing and proof of concept, mmWave is actually starting to break its own rules. The rules previously were you can't get range, you can't get propagation. Those things are starting to change. The technology is getting better, right? Qualcomm, Ericsson, Samsung, Verizon, they're really forcing the issue because they know it's the future of capacity. It's the future of 5G. It really is. Since 2019, concerns of connectivity and distance and building penetration, I mean, we've heard everything from leaves and trees and branches and raindrops. I mean, glass, we've heard it all. And maybe in the beginning that was the case. Maybe it is, right? I'm not going to deny it. I mean, in the first couple months where Verizon had it in Chicago and Minneapolis, it was awful. That's just simply not the case anymore. All of that is being put to rest. A lot of the doubters and the naysayers from like a year ago, they probably have to start changing their thoughts on mmWave. They have to, right? If they're going to continue to say it doesn't work through leaves and obstacles and all that, I have video footage of it. I've made YouTube videos on it where all of those things are getting put to rest. They're going to have to change their thought process. So they're going to eventually have to eat crow and come to this realization that mmWave is way better than they first thought. It's completely changing the way it's performing. I mean, it has the most potential in 5G. So it makes sense that companies are investing heavily in it. So the story is changing on mmWave. It is the future of wireless networking. It's going to be the reason we have capacity in 5G moving forward. Some people lack vision. They don't understand it for their application, but I'm telling you right now, with records like this getting broken, it's a game changer. All right, so how did this record get broken? What's the big deal about this? How did they do this? So the way they did this was, in terms of what Qualcomm did that was so special, was actually software. It was software advancements. It was software improvements and upgrades. The hardware is actually all commercial grade. It's already out and deployed and available. So they didn't come out with some special magic node, right? It was actually software, which again emphasizes the concept of evolution of tech. Yeah, the hardware is going to evolve and the hardware is going to get better, but software is as important. It's the driving force of the hardware. One of the reasons why people say that they love iPhones is the fact that the software is so reliable, it's so dependable, it's optimized and all those things. That's what we're talking about here, right? Software holding it down, making the hardware work. So mmWave frequency spectrum is basically wireless fiber, right? What fiber is to home internet and business grade internet, that's what mmWave can be. It could be basically wireless fiber in terms of performance. Incredible capacity. It's going to be the difference maker in 5G. It's going to be the difference maker in 6G, 7G. I alluded to that earlier. It is going to be the reason we have capacity and mobility. It is going to be an answer to small business connectivity, enterprise application, home wireless, fixed 5G, residential. In fact, I can make the argument, and I think a lot of people would agree, T-Mobile can't properly do home internet in all the markets they want to without it. Same thing with Verizon. You cannot offer the capacity without it. You're going to need those really wide channels. The mid-band can do it, but the speed's going to degrade eventually. Right? The capacity just won't be there because you're going to have to aggregate a lot of carriers. You're going to need a lot of antenna hardware. mmWave has its place. Now, what they're doing is they're taking the hardware, which is actually an outdoor unit that looks like a long, upside-down light bulb. I've seen a picture of the technology that the company, I think the company's name is Casa Oris AI or something like that. Anyways, what they did was they got this hardware, and it can rotate 360 degrees, which is good because it makes it dynamic, right? It makes it adjustable. It's active. It physically can move and reposition itself to optimize the signal transmission. It's also IP66 rated, so it's water resistant. They worked with Qualcomm on this. The testing was completed in Australia. It looks like it served a really good performance. Qualcomm Snapdragon X55 modem, which is commercial. Like I said, we're using it today in our smartphones. If you have an Android 5G phone right now, you either have an X50 modem or an X55 modem. This is an X55 modem. It's using the QTM 527 mmWave antenna module, the antenna array. All this is consumer grade. All of this is in use now. They're just showing you what software could do. Proof of concept that mmWave is going to be a game changer. It's getting better by the day, and it's going to be a difference maker for a lot of people in this country. There's a reason why a lot of countries don't want to utilize this technology, because it's going to be expensive to deploy. They might not be investing in it now, but eventually they will. No way around it. T-Mobile's low-band 5G, nothing to write home about. AT&T's low-band 5G, nothing to write home about. Nothing. When they start deploying mid-band 5G, we'll get a difference maker. When they start deploying big-time mmWave, we'll see a difference maker. Same thing with Verizon. Once they get this mmWave thing launched completely, right, they're getting all these cities covered, block after block after block. Game changer. It takes time. It takes a CapEx expenditure. You're going to have to spend. You're going to put these things all over the place. But as the technologies develop and the evolution of the tech improves, we will see it more and more. And that's how technology works. It just takes time. I don't know where you guys are at with this tech. A lot of people can't relate to this technology because it's not available to them. They haven't connected to it. They've never used it before. They don't have a phone that connects to it. So you may not have a relatable experience to mmWave. But I'm telling you, when I connect to it, when I use it in and around the bakery, all over the CLE, it's in neighborhoods, it's on city blocks, it's near the downtown centers, it's near clubs and restaurants. It's fantastic. Verizon doesn't even track the data usage on mmWave. They're like, no, you guys could do whatever you want with this data. It's basically unlimited bandwidth. Go ahead. Unlimited tethering, unlimited, there's no video resolution restrictions. It's great. I can't wait for more of this to go to more cities so people can use it and enjoy it, because it is a phenomenal connection. I love it. Way better than low band 5G. Low band 5G, it's not, these channels are just too skinny. It's not cutting it. Not really my personal opinion. It's kind of the truth. Low band 5G is not going to help many people. It'll help some, those that are in rural areas that don't have a high bandwidth need. But yeah, very, very limited. So as limited as people think mmWave is in coverage, that's how limited low band is in capacity. I'll take the speed over the range if you could deploy enough of that speed, right? Get it. We kind of learn more and more each day. We get little bits and pieces from their executives. So as that information becomes available, we start to kind of piece together what we think T-Mobile is trying to do. I mean, we kind of know what they're doing, right? We know what spectrum holdings they have, and we know what they want to do with their build out and things like that. But sometimes things change and situations are fluid, so they start to pivot and adjust and all of that. So this is good insight on what T-Mobile's doing, because I've said time and time again, don't listen to what a company says. always watch what a company does, because talk is cheap. And anytime companies are trying to be private, it makes perfect sense. You want to be private. You don't want your competition to always know every little thing about you. Some things are public and they just come out, right? But you don't want to give away your recipe. You don't want to give away your details, your business plan, right? All the specific things that you're going to do. You don't want to just make that, available to your competition, which is what T-Mobile's doing. I mean, that's business. Nobody's mad at them for that. But I'm here to frame this thing to you this way. You do not want any company in any marketplace to have a position of power. That is the worst case scenario. When companies are in a position of power, they take advantage of consumers. When companies get too big, they can do whatever they want. We see this in big tech all the time. Nobody can tell Google what to do. Nobody can tell Amazon what to do. Nobody can tell eBay what to do. Nobody could tell PayPal what to do. Nobody could tell large banks what to do. They're so powerful. They're such bullies that you can't make them flinch. Not even regulators can do much about it, right? Because they try to sidestep and do a lot of that, swim moves and stiff arms and whatnot. Hey, JR, thanks for the super chat. He said, would you say it's more advantageous to stick with LT Plus if you have T-Mobile or AT&T? You think it'll be a while before we see mid-band? No, mid-band is on deck. And especially with the Spectrum auctions coming up, it's coming in a big way. G&G Tech, thanks for the super chat, buddy. Appreciate you both. You guys are the best. Back to this concept of a position of power. You don't want this. And it doesn't matter who the carrier is. Not AT&T, not Verizon, not T-Mobile. You do not want a position of power. I want everybody that is a T-Mobile fanboy, an AT&T fanboy, and a Verizon fanboy. Right now, please take off your rose-colored glasses. Take off your magenta-colored glasses, your blue-colored glasses, and your red-colored glasses. Take them off. I want you to think like a consumer that is spending money. And the more power these companies have, the more money you have to spend. Think about your wallet. Stop thinking about your allegiance to these carriers. Listen to me. T-Mobile has requested the FCC approval of a long-term lease of 19 T-Star license holdings in the 600 megahertz frequency range. These cities, these 19 markets, they're all over the place. They're positioned throughout the United States. There's no it's not regional. It's literally all over and scattered. Lansing, Michigan, Las Vegas, Nevada, New Orleans, Louisiana. It's all over the place. Big towns, little towns, and everything in between. Mid-markets, the whole shebang. 19 listed cities in this request. I want you to deal, thanks to the DOJ who put the deal together. They forced the deal for 10 megahertz with Dish. Those are in smaller markets. They're not big markets. ARG Tech, appreciate you, bro. Yeah, it's all about the money. I'm telling you. Spending your money wisely, right? It's all about this. That's why, and I'll remind everybody again where I'm going with this. Think about your wallet for a second. Take off the rose color, the pink, magenta colored glasses, the blue glasses. Take all that off. The red glasses. Think about this. I'm concerned about T-Mobile. Why is T-Mobile only focusing on 600 megahertz? This is why I'm concerned. And the reason I'm concerned is because this is going to affect T-Mobile customers and AT&T customers and Verizon customers. Because as long as the T-Mobile network is dealing with congestion and coverage issues, they're going to be having problems. Now, why? Why is T-Mobile focusing on 600 megahertz? Because they already have the hardware up. All of the tower sites that already have Band 71, 600 megahertz hardware, they're just going to get additional license access. So it'll basically be transmitting wider channels or multiple channels, right? However, T-Mobile decides to configure it. The problem with that is those channels are limited in size. Okay, so in some markets, they'll have 20 megahertz, 30, 40, whatever. There's only so much spectrum that the FCC spectrum screen rules allow you to operate in specific markets. Low band, like 600 megahertz, can only do so much in capacity. It'll never be fast. And the reason I say it'll never be fast is because the channels are skinny. They're not wide. They'll upgrade the network. It'll make it better. I mean, more megahertz equals more bandwidth, right? But moving forward in the future, T-Mobile just had a huge merger with Sprint where they acquired tons of 2.5 gigahertz spectrum. One of the big problems that T-Mobile is facing right now, according to Root Metrics, according to viewers and subscribers here on the channel, is congestion. The 600 megahertz licenses they're getting are going to help a little bit, but where they're really going to get their bread and butter is going to be 2.5 gigahertz. And that's not getting deployed right now as fast as we would like to see. I'm going to be patient. I've already said that I'm going to give T-Mobile a year, and then I'll kind of make a judgment as to where the network is going. Kimon says in his $5 super chat, appreciate you. Yeah, carriers always lie. They always do. All of them. The red one, the blue one, and the pink one. Keon with the super chat, I appreciate you, brother. I disagree about this one. I haven't even finished. I don't know what you're disagreeing about, my dude. You know, so hear me out. The limitation with low band is going to create a scenario where if you're not focusing on the 2.5, which you just spent $26 billion on a merger with a company in debt, you took on their debt, you took their customers, you removed a carrier, you did a lot with that move if you're T-Mobile. All that spectrum, 160 megahertz of 2.5 gigahertz national, that should be the focus. I'm telling you my perspective. Whatever anybody else says, that's respect opinions. The focus should not just be 600 megahertz. They're putting more effort and focus into 600 megahertz, really probably for one reason. They've already got the hardware up on the tower sites. It's going to offer them good range, but really they need to be focusing a lot on the 2.5 as well. They really should. Many industry pundits believe that T-Mobile will not really buy big on C-band, which is up and coming. C-band is getting auctioned in December. They believe that T-Mobile's only goal in C-band is to just disrupt the auction so that bids increase so they can hurt the balance sheets of Verizon and AT&T. So I want you to look at the title of this video, this podcast, this live stream. T-Mobile could hurt the wireless industry. This is what I'm talking about. The new T-Mobile sounds like it's going to be focusing on simply getting in the way at the auction, trying to drive up pricing and bidding. Not really interested in buying anything because they have a lot of 2.5 gigahertz already. In fact, they don't really have the money to buy more. So their interest in the spectrum auction with C-band, the 3.7 gigahertz, they're not going to be buying. They're just trying to disrupt and raise the pricing to hurt Verizon, to hurt AT&T. Now look, I don't like to get in the way of businesses. I like businesses to do what's best for them. That's their business, right? Oh, I believe it, Teletech. I'm sure AT&T did the same thing. I'm saying I agree. These are business tactics. I get it. But we're customers. You get what I'm saying? I'm focusing on the customer. This is why I told everybody here in the podcast when I first started, take off the rose-colored glasses, the pink, the magenta, the blue, and the red. Take that off. You are a consumer. This is going to affect your pockets and your bill. If T-Mobile's goal is to simply raise the pricing on C-band auctions in December, they're going to hurt consumers. And here's my premise. The reason I'm bringing this up is Verizon is already reaching out to the FCC and indicating T-Mobile for spectrum screening. The spectrum screen rule. Too much spectrum, sub 6 gigahertz. They don't need more, which is true. They don't need more. They might need more in the future. Nobody's going to be mad if they try to buy more. I'm not going to tell any company what you should and shouldn't be doing with your money. That's their business. But they already have tons of 600 megahertz of their own, plus everything that they're leasing from the companies I just told you about. You see the setup? They have a lot of spectrum already, and they're leasing more. So basically, they're not operating according to these spectrum screen rules. That's up to the FCC to regulate, and Verizon's forcing the issue. They're saying, hey, look, they're kind of blowing the whistle on them, right? T-Mobile's not done rolling 600 megahertz nationwide to all their sites. They haven't really started 2.5 gigahertz in my opinion. They've got some in Philly, they've got some in East Village, Manhattan. Like, it's not, we're expecting more action in October and through the rest of the year and so on. So we're going to be watching that. They're not done with PCS. They're widening channels now. They're not done with AWS. Not every site has band 66. I mean, there's a lot of work to do. Why am I saying that this is going to hurt consumers? So here's the concept that I'm saying. Number one, this is going to hurt T-Mobile customers. Why? This is going to hurt T-Mobile customers because their network experience is going to suffer. The network capacity is going to be limited if all T-Mobile is focusing on is band 71. 600 megahertz has its limitations and capacity. Not really a big deal because I think eventually T-Mobile goes big with 2.5 gigahertz. I just don't know when and to what scale. I don't know. That's to be seen. So that's how I'm seeing that. Number two, it's going to hurt AT&T customers. And the reason I say that is in the C-band auction, if AT&T has to pay more for C-band, they are the type of company that is going to increase pricing in a corresponding move because they had to pay more for the spectrum. And they're going to have to pay more to deploy it. Now that's T-Mobile's advantage, right? Force the issue, force AT&T to have to bump pricing. So this is a business tactic by T-Mobile, and I get it. I've said it already. I understand the business tactic, but it's hurting consumers because there are places in this country where T-Mobile doesn't have coverage and AT&T does, and those customers have AT&T. It's going to affect the plans. It's going to affect the network experience for AT&T and their customers. And number three, it's going to affect Verizon customers 100%. The company that we're expecting to go big with C-band and to be the biggest buyer and the biggest beneficiary is going to be Verizon. The same concerns I have for AT&T, the same concerns I have for Verizon. The CapEx is going to increase. The expenditure has to increase. They might have to raise pricing on customers as they deploy the C-band and have to pay more for those license accesses. AT&T has joined Verizon. They are now calling out spectrum screen rules to the FCC on T-Mobile. Here's why I think I'm right. You can disagree or you can agree. Here's why I think me framing it this way and viewing it this way, here's why I'm right. I've joked about carriers making the liar sandwich. Mike Seaver is very guilty of the liar sandwich. He says a lie, then he says something true, and then he says a lie. Or I should say exaggerate. So lie, exaggerate, truth, exaggerate, lie. Like it's a sandwich, right? Just an analogy, okay? He was quoted at the Goldman Sachs investor conference as saying some pretty telling things about their position currently and what they're going to be doing in the future. I'm going to get to that in a second. AT&T said the commission, the FCC, must take action to reaffirm the importance of a spectrum aggregation tool and define a meaningful approach going forward. Clearly, they're saying the rules, right? The spectrum screen rules. So AT&T and Verizon are teaming up together to blow the whistle on T-Mobile. They're basically saying T-Mobile is abusing low and mid-band holdings. They shouldn't be allowed to participate in C-band auctions. C-band pricing will likely only be artificially driven up by T-Mobile in the attempt to make the carriers like Verizon and AT&T spend more, make it more expensive. Currently, T-Mobile can't buy C-band, in my opinion, not much of it. Maybe in certain markets. They can't afford the spectrum, in my opinion. They have too much of their own they should be worrying about. Mr. Sean, appreciate the $2.99 super chat. Yeah, Starlink will be a difference maker, absolutely. I think Verizon is more upset about the 600 megahertz lease deals on top of all the spectrum they already have. It's getting ridiculous. The spectrum screen rule, it's designed to address these types of issues. You can only have a certain amount of low band spectrum in a market. You can only have a certain amount of mid-band. You can only have a certain amount of millimeter wave in a market. Everything has its limitations. The FCC can regulate this. That's what they do. They're a commission that regulates. They also regulate the total spectrum a company can own. Now, from the sub 6 gigahertz, from what I understand, the spectrum screen is 250 megahertz. T-Mobile has exceeded that by 112 megahertz already, with these lease deals and so on. So the speculation right now, actually, this is where things get interesting, is that the FCC could increase the spectrum screen to 345 megahertz due to C-band auctioning. T-Mobile would still probably exceed the spectrum screen because the lease deals take them over that threshold in a lot of markets. So it still would keep them out of bidding even if they increased the spectrum screen. I don't know what the FCC is going to do, and I'm not encouraging them to do anything. I'm just saying these things are out there, and analysts are citing them. And I agree, Teletech. I don't think the FCC wants to get in the way of T-Mobile spending money. I agree, man. And I don't think the FCC cares how much Verizon and AT&T have to pay for it. So they're probably like, do what you do. Sebi, I don't care if it's right or wrong. That's not what this is about. I don't even look. I already said it. Are you just getting in, man? I just talked about this. I said I'm not in the business of telling businesses what to do, and you guys gotta listen, man. All right, Mike Sievert. Oh, and let me remind you, because I already said this. Take off your magenta colored glasses. Take off your blue and your red colored glasses. Listen to me. Mike Sievert commented at the Goldman Sachs Investors Conference. He said Verizon and AT&T will kill each other over C-band and destroy their balance sheets. That's true. That is the middle of the liar sandwich. That is true. He's clearly going to try to exaggerate this. He's going to try to exploit this, knowing that they need that spectrum badly. More so Verizon than AT&T, but both to a certain extent. He's going to do his best, Mike Sievert, to drive up the bidding costs. They're only going to buy in a few markets, guaranteed. 40 megahertz maybe in certain markets. I just don't see it. Maybe some markets with 20 megahertz. I just don't see them going big. They're probably only going to get the shake at the bottom of the bag. For those of you, if you know what I'm talking about. The shake at the bottom of the bag, all right? They're going to get the value licenses, the ones that nobody wants at the very end. They're going to get in certain markets to address places where they don't have much 2.5 because it's not contiguous. I mean, think about it. Look at what they did in the last 10 years. They got AWS on a bargain at the very end of the auctions. They did the same thing with the 600 megahertz auction. Over the last decade, they've been cheap. They've been frugal. They've been smart about their spending. But what it's done is it's put them behind the 8 ball in their network. They finished last in LTE, and it's not even close. Look at the RootMetrics scores. Look at the network experience in so many markets across the U.S. It's multiple problems. I mean, it's coverage issues, it's capacity issues. No network is perfect. They're dealing with it, right? They're going to try to improve the network. But they lost 4G LTE, and Mike Sievert even admitted to it. Mike admitted this at the investor conference. But what he's trying to do is show that he said, we're in a position of power. We're in a position of power. Listen to me. When he said we're in a position of power, he's basically saying, we're only here to get in the way of AT&T and Verizon. At C-band, his only goal is to make Verizon and AT&T spend more money than they should. That is all he's going to do. So if you think that T-Mobile is going to buy a lot of C-band, they will not. They're just trying to make Verizon and AT&T spend more, so it hurts more. So it messes with the investors, makes people want to invest more in T-Mobile. So before everybody gets all crazy and starts disliking the video and gets mad at the SMT for not talking glowingly about T-Mobile, it has nothing to do with talking about it glowingly. It's the fact of the matter that T-Mobile's only goal in C-band is going to be to drive up the spending by Verizon and AT&T, and those things will hurt those customers. Because if they have to spend more to deploy that spectrum, they're going to push that cost to the customers. And if T-Mobile is at a position of power, they're going to be less incentivized to compete when they feel comfortable. When people are comfortable, there's no fire. When companies are comfortable, there's no motivation. So, when I mention, I'm not looking for anybody to agree or disagree. I'm not here to stir the pot. I'm here to help people see my perspective analytically. So we've come full circle in my claim. We've come full circle in my perspective. T-Mobile's intention is simply to disrupt the C-band auction. It's not going to be to get licenses. It's not going to be to help customers. In actuality, T-Mobile's probably going to hurt customers. They'll probably hurt their own in network experience. They're probably going to hurt Verizon and AT&T's customer experiences as well on the network. That's what I'm saying. That's how I see it. And that's what I think it is. Thanks for listening to this version of the SMT Podcast. We'll catch you on the next one. All right, that was the audio-only podcast. I'm here on YouTube. I'm focused on you guys. I thought this would be a great discussion point. I really do. If you're watching this in the live, I see the live chat. It's pretty active. I love it. If you're watching this on replay, comment. Let me know what you think. Keon's talking competition. I love it. I agree. It's all about competition. See, that's the thing. Unfortunately, in wireless network communities, in wireless network channels, everybody wants to take these sides. I've heard people use the term camp. I don't agree with that term. I don't think there should be the camp. There's one camp that should exist in wireless, and that's the customer. Customers should not be trying to pin each other against which carrier is better, and that we're in the same camp. We pay money for service, and we want to pay less for it, and we still want to have a good experience. So if we're all fighting the same battle, nobody should be getting in each other's way. I don't want Verizon to have the best network, or AT&T to have the best network, or T-Mobile to have the best network. I want them to compete at their throats. I want them all to have great networks, and I want them to feel the pressure from each other. Pricing, quality of product, network experience, features, hotspot, video resolution. I want it all. I can't have it all if companies are operating at a position of power. It doesn't make me happy to know that Verizon is winning 300 RootMetrics awards, and then T-Mobile only wins 70, and then AT&T only wins 180. There's too much disparity there. I can't wait for a day when Verizon has 150 RootMetrics awards, AT&T has 150, and T-Mobile has 150. What a day that would be. When each of them is balanced, when each of them has great coverage, when each of them has great capacity, and they are competing fiercely for our business and our dollars. Anybody out there, and all I care about is the customer. I don't care about T-Mobile shills or AT&T fanboys or Verizon shills or fanboys. I'm not into that conversation. That doesn't exist in my world. I don't care. You could say whatever you want. I love what Teletech just said. What a great comment. Verizon's lack of spectrum became a blessing in disguise. More towers now, that's good for C-band. It will take a long time for T-Mobile to get that tower density, because that's one of the shortcomings of the T-Mobile network is the lack of tower density. So T-Mobile's got this incredible plethora of spectrum holdings, but they don't have the tower density. Verizon has the tower density, but not the spectrum. So it's like role reversal, right? So what is T-Mobile going to be doing? Building tower sites. That's going to be their focus. What's Verizon's, MO going to be moving forward? I appreciate everybody that is a part of the SMT Nation. I want to do some special shout-outs. I want to thank all of my patrons for continuing to support me on that platform. If you want to become a member, there's a link in the description box below. I want to thank everybody for watching this in the live. #2LiveCrew. I want to thank all for watching it on record. #ReplayCrew. If you're watching this while you were eating, #RavioliGang. Maybe you were hungry. #ModSquad for my mods holding it down, forming Voltron, and keeping things kosher in the live chat. You guys are the best. Thank you for your dedication and your support to the channel. If you're new, if you've been lurking and you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do that. What are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button, activate the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload or a live stream from the SMT. And, don't forget to check out the Patreon. You might like that. And that's pretty much it. Thank you to all for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll be doing it live in a couple of days on Sunday, so join us for that. Again, thank you for watching or listening to the podcast. Hope to see you soon on the next show. Be safe. I wish you wealth. I wish you health. You all take it easy. We'll catch you on the next one. And peace. Yeah.